And it needed some.
Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bospis.
Here?
Commissioner Baker. Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Gary. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino.
Here.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Talentino.
I so move to excuse Commissioner Gary, Collins, and Baker, along with the City Attorney Canella.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I'd ask those with cell phones, if you'd put them on vibrate or turn them off, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Also like to welcome Erica from the clerk's office to her first official commission meeting as doing the duties tonight. Thank you, Erica. We have no, under B, proclamations and recognitions, I have nothing, so under C, public comment. This time, anyone wanting to speak on an agenda item, if you'd like to identify yourself at this point, you'll have 3 minutes at that time to speak on an agenda item. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on an agenda item tonight who isn't already scheduled? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item D is the consent agenda, please.
Item 1 under consent agenda, approval of City Commission meeting minutes of May 20th, 2019. Item 2, approval of City Commission meeting minutes of May 29th, 2019. Item 3, authorized depositories, bank resolution and investment policy of July 1st, 2019. Item 4, authorization of an amendment of Special Assessment Rule SW-01-17. Item 5, authorization of an amendment of Special Assessment Rule SW-03-18. Item 6, scheduling of a public hearing on a resolution to vacate the full width of the alley between lots 1 through 5 inclusive and lot 6, block 2, Spruce Place, without the retention of utility easements for the June 17th, 2019 regular City Commission meeting. Item 7, approval of a private use agreement for installation of monitoring wells in the 15th Avenue right-of-way. Item 8, authorization for the mayor to sign a letter of support for the restoration of funding for the Regional Prosperity Initiative in the governor's proposed budget as requested by the EUP Regional Planning and Development Commission. Item 9, approval of consent agenda items.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a commissioner that would like something further explained on the consent agenda? If not, Commissioner Tuarty.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bospis,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 1, under special orders of business, public hearing on single lot assessment rules SL-1N-19 and SL-1W-19.
All right. Acting City Manager, Robin.
Thank you, Mayor Bospis. As the commission is aware, twice annually, in time for the summer and winter tax billings, city administration develops a list of unpaid bills for services provided to specific properties for consideration as a single lot special assessment. This includes bills for code enforcement, as well as any outstanding water bills for water accounts that have been terminated at least 6 months. Included in this evening's agenda packet is a preliminary list of the single lot property assessments for property maintenance issues. late rental registration fees, and delinquent water and sewer bills related to individual properties located within the city of Sault Ste. Marie. If approved, these charges will be placed on the July tax bills. Pursuant to Chapter 21, Article 5 of the city's Code of Ordinance, property owners were given not less than 30 days of notice of the amount owed on the property affected. And for code enforcement billings, property owners have been sent monthly statements during this time. For sewer and water accounts, there is no service at these properties. Final billings are sent and repeat efforts at collection have been made. All property owners of records were sent notice of this action. The list was also published in the evening news, and the roll itself was available on the city website to ensure property owners had sufficient notice. The attached listing of unpaid bills, which has been updated to exclude payments received or payment arrangements made to extenuating circumstances through the close of business today. So there's two motions before the commission. One is that the mayor shall conduct a public hearing on the single lot special assessment roll SL-1N-19 and SL-1W-19, and that motion to confirm the single lot special assessments as presented.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll hold a public hearing on the single lot special assessment, roll SL-19 or 1N-19 and SL-1W-19. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to make a comment at this time? Okay, here now we'll close the public hearing. Let's go to Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to confirm the single lot special assessment roll SL-1N-19 and SL-1W-19.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty,
Yes.
Mayor Bosbis.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
Item 1, under Communications, from the Downtown Development Authority, approval of year-end budget amendments.
Okay, Acting City Manager.
On this item, I'll defer to the Downtown Development Director, Justin Knepper.
Okay. Good evening, Justin.
Budget amendments, and then myself and Allison Youngs, our board treasurer, met with Kristen Collins, the city finance director, and she helped us go through line by line and come up with a way to balance our funds. And what we were looking for was to at least end the year at a zero fund balance with the compiled fund balances of the DDA fund, the TIF 1 fund, and the TIF 2 fund. And so we ended up, when we first started the meeting, we were about negative $14,000 to come in at the end of the year in terms of our fund balances. We worked through a number of line items and projected a little bit of increased revenue to end the rest of June, and then cut a number of line items. And so I wanted to quickly mention a few highlights. But first, like I mentioned, thank you very much to Kristen Collins from the Finance Department for helping us with this. Allison Youngs, our DDA Board Treasurer, and Les Townsend is our current Board Chair, and he has been helpful in calling all sorts of special meetings to get us through the process. So just a few big highlights. One of the biggest ones is, I hope you have it in your packet, is number 4, which is our promotions income. That's a lot of where we hoped that by having an increased staff person, we could deliver on our mission of more events, more festivals, bigger impact in terms of our promotions and advertising for downtown. And so we're projecting a higher level of revenues coming in than ever before, hopefully ending the year close to $57,000 in revenues. And some of the biggest things we did was launch a new marketing partnership effort with local businesses. And so this year, this spring, we had 3 $5,000 annual sponsors that came on board: Sioux Co-op Credit Union, Maloney's Alley, and Monaco Jewelers, and then 3 $3,000 annual sponsors, and they come with different levels of partnership: Wicked Sister, Park Race Hardware, and Cooper Dental, as well as many other sponsors. That really helped, and we're going to be working a lot with a number of businesses to help promote both the DDA events and the businesses through our promotional efforts. Other things we did, we had to make a few cuts. We had some budgets that weren't spent down. Our organizational committee and our economic vitality committee both, just to end the year, we're going to start the new year with a new budget, but we had a little bit of savings there that we were able to remove some of the unspent funding to end the year. And then balanced the rest of the line items with, down to $100 to make certain cuts and increases in revenue. So with those 27 line items, there was some discussion as well that we worked with the City Finance Department on parking and the parking garage fund. Those are separate, and Kristen said she'd be including that in her full report. So the DDA is just focusing on our TIF 1, TIF 2, and DDA fund. But currently, with all of these amendments, give or take, by the end of June 30th, we will end at a combined zero fund balance across those 3 funds. And the finance director did suggest that the DDA look at creating some sort of fund balance policy where we would have a little bit, maybe set aside a few percentage points going forward in future in case we have problems. So the DDA is always, barely hanging in there financially. In large part, the city has been a huge partner, and then increased partnerships with other organizations. But ever since the 2014 tax reductions that hit all of downtown, we've been constantly kind of, clawing to stay operational, and through all of that, we've been able to grow. So thank you very much. Any questions or thoughts or detail that people would like?
Just had a thought. I know that, I'm wondering if maybe sitting down with Kristen Collins a little bit more throughout the fiscal year might be more effective than just sitting down at the end of the year, at least for a little while. I know that you have a really good board, and I appreciate all of Allison Young's work towards being the treasurer, but maybe if you stayed just at least for a couple fiscal years, if you stayed on top of it.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great idea, and I do believe that we're going to be working. One of the things that the city provides for the DDA is all of our financial services. And so the more that we can work closely with the city finance department, the better. And so that will be something that I'll take into advisement.
Thank you. That was it.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Thank you, Director Nepper, for that report. The motion before the commission is a motion to approve the various line item revisions to the balance of the DDA fund, the TIF 1 fund, and the TIF 2 fund.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to approve various line items revisions to balance the DDA fund, TIF 1 fund, and TIF 2 fund.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved, supported. Just a comment, it's nice to see that even the principal shopping district amounts that the businesses are paying. It's nice to see the additional amounts of money coming in, and that's certainly a plus to your efforts and Lindsay's efforts, and continuing that going forward is, I'm sure you're looking at, and I'm sure you appreciate those businesses giving even more to the vitality of the DDA office, because we all know that the amount of work that they do and the rehab programs and other things that you're involved in, so good job. So we have a motion to support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 2, under communications from the Economic Development Corporation, the award of contract for fixed-based operator at Sanderson Field.
Okay, thank you. Acting City Manager Troyer.
On this matter, Executive Director of the Economic Development Corporation, Jeff Holt, will present.
Okay. Evening, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Okay. As we're aware, the FBO research and selection process has been going on for a little over a year and a half when the current manager decided to retire and not renew his contract. We have, since that time, have reviewed 4 proposals and 2 separate marketing attempts to present to our steering committee, and they have come to a conclusion that they have a clear front runner for our recommendation. We received several responses, as I mentioned, and after much discussion, the consensus was to offer a contract to Great Circle Aviation, LLC, out of Brimley. They are currently operating a maintenance hangar out of Kinross, and they are looking to expand their services. These agreements have been reviewed by the city attorney. The FBO financial agreement and the budget amendment have been discussed with city finance. The budget modifications were reviewed at length with the former city manager, as well as the airport authority and the TIFA 3 boards. All parties are in agreement with the budget modifications needed for this. The financial agreement allows for prepayment of services. It's not unusual in these cases. It's a little more than we had been used to, but due to the fact that the new FBO, if hired, will be incurring new costs of computer software, insurance, and training. So I would ask that the recommendation that the Great Circle Aviation will be granted the FBO contract.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Jeff? Okay, Acting City Manager, anything?
Thank you, Director Holt, for that report. There are 3 motions before the commission for this agenda item. One is a motion to approve the contract to Great Circle Aviation Services of Brimley, Michigan for a 2-year term with the option to renew for 2 years starting June 4th, 2019. Motion to approve a budget amendment to the airport contract service line item in the amount of $30,000 with $15,000 in funding coming from TIFA 3 and the remainder funded by the general fund. And the third motion is to approve the city manager or deputy city manager to sign related documents as it applies to this process.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one quick note. Since I got elected, I've really come to know how important that city airport is to us here in the city of Sault Ste. Marie economically. The impact is huge, and the studies have been done to show that. That being said, I'd like to make a motion to award the contract to Great Lakes Circle Aviation Services, LLC of Brimley, Michigan, for the term of 2 years with the option to renew for 2 years starting June 4th, 2019.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carried. Continue on, Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to approve the budget amendment for the airport contracted services line item in the amount of $30,000, with $15,000 in funding coming from the TIFA 3 and the remaining funding coming from the general fund.
Support.
It's moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosphus,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Torti.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And finally, Commissioner Talentino.
Last motion, motion to approve the city manager or deputy city manager to sign related documentation as applies to this process.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Torti,
Yes.
Mayor Bosphus.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, item G is the city manager's report. Acting City Manager Troyer.
The first item under the city manager's report is award a bid for the West 14th Street Water Booster Station Improvement Project, and Department of Public Works Director Jim Morrow will present on this item.
Okay, thank you. Evening, Jim.
Good evening. Our 14th Street Booster Station is located on West 14th Street, just south of West 8th Avenue. It's a very small station. It houses two small pumps that fill the radar water tower that's located in the radar base just south of town, south of 3 Mile Road. Right now, its service area is rather small. Does south side of 14th Street, does the Meyer and the radar base housing project and the other homes there. But even at this small service area, the pumps are really undersized. It's really been kind of a haphazard station over the years that it was built minimally just to meet an immediate goal when the wells went bad in the radar base there. Anyway, one of the things we want to do with this station, we want to expand the service area. Right now, the entire business spur, 3 Mile Road, and Odenang subdivision is fed off the 25th Avenue water tower. And we want to expand that under the freeway, up to the roundabout and along 3 Mile Road with the radar tower. And to do that, we need to expand the size of the booster station. That's our biggest buildable area, and we really don't have adequate capacity for something big going in there, along the 3 Mile Road corridor there where that new 12-inch water main went in. So this is a very, very important project for us in the future. Anyway, we designed, with the help of C2AE, the station was designed, and we opened some bids on it for bigger pumps and better controls and a surge protection system in there that will prevent future water main breaks, which we've had a lot on 14th Street because of that problem. Anyway, we knew the pricing was going to be very tight because lately, in the last year or so, every contractor is pretty much busy right now. And so last year, we had budgeted $160,000 for this project, and we knew it was going to be tight. So what we did, we put a line item in for the generator, for a standby generator on there for a deduct, just to try to save some money. Anyway, we opened some bids, and as we suspected, the low bid exceeded our budget, but it was from LC Dosa of Kalamazoo for a total of $244,100 with the $43,000 500 deduct for the generator, which it would be nice to have that generator there, but we have trailer mounted units that we can bring up there. And so what we're going to do is in next year's CIP, we're going to budget for it right. And then it's not going to cost any more because it's just a plug-in unit. Its cost will be relatively the same. Anyway, with the deduct, it's $203,100. And we worked with LD Dosa before. They're a fine company. They did the screw pump at the wastewater treatment plant 3 years ago, and did a great job there. So I really have two recommendations. First is we contract with LD Dosa of Kalamazoo for $203,100 for 14th Street Booster, and also that we increase the budget by $43,100 from the Water Depreciation Reserve to cover the shortfall.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any questions? Acting City Manager? anything?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And those are two separate motions. Let's go to Commissioner Twardy.
It's a round robin tonight. We all get a lot of
Yes, yeah,
chances.
you're going to get, right.
I'll make a motion to award the contract with LC Dosa of Kalamazoo, Michigan for the cost of $203,100 for the West 14th Street Booster Station Rehab Project.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty,
Yes.
Mayor Bospas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Commissioner Tuorty?
Thank you. I'll make a motion to increase the project budget by $43,100 with additional funding coming from the Water Depreciation Reserve.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any questions? Again, roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuorty,
Yes.
Mayor Bospas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 2 under the city manager's report is approval of contracts for the construction of the salt and mixed storage buildings at the Department of Public Works site. And on this matter, city engineer Linda Basista will present.
Good evening, Mayor,
Linda.
Commission. As you know, we've been working on DPW complex, and that's first item, the salt shed, for some time. The condition of our current salt shed is very bad. So in part of the process, we were originally, as you may recall, MDOT was going to help with the construction of the salt shed, participating with a grant process, which our commission and mayor and former city manager Oliver Turner was very instrumental in getting the state to pass to put the funding back in for statewide salt shed program. And we were told we were first on the list, and then MDOT pulled back and said, no, we're only doing repairs. We're only participating in rehabs of existing salt sheds. So rather than build their full concrete salt shed, we searched out alternate designs. And what has been very popular and coming into more use are the fabric over steel structure. There's actually one over in Canada that we can see I can see it from my house anyway. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. But our DPW went down, crews went down and did some visited 4 different ones, and with our consultant, OHM, and settled on a type of shed. And so that was released for bid on May 1st, and bids were opened on May 21st. And it's a 2-component bid. There's site work, and then there's the building. So we had a bid for each component, only one bidder for each component. The site work was bid by Norris Contracting for $241,192, and the building was bid by Clear Heights Construction for $379,475. After reviewing the bids, especially the site work, we determined that our DPW is capable of doing some of the work and postponing some of the work so that we could stay within the budget that City Commission approved in February. And so Norris agreed to deductive change order that will go concurrent with the approval of the contract, and that keeps us in budget with a small contingency. And then we'll also have OHM doing some testing and so forth. So this actually was in line with the engineers, our consultant engineers' estimate, but not mine when we put it through for budget. So, but the prices are in line with what they had anticipated. So even though we only have one bid for each component, we're satisfied with what we have and really feel we need to move forward and get this salt shed bid. So the recommendation is to make a motion to approve award of contract for the salt and mixed storage building to Norris Contract in the amount of $241,192, coincident with a deductive change order in the amount of $78,932. and award contract to Clear Heights for $379,475 for the building portion of the project.
Thank you very much. Just have one question, and just because of the winter we had, and you're an engineer, the fabric construction, I'm sure you looked at the amount of snow load. That will not be a problem.
No, they're designed for the snow load, and especially since they are being used in the northern climates,
Yeah.
we're
Should be fine.
confident that they have a good lifespan. And the panels of the fabric are such that if one were to rip or something, they can easily be replaced, because they're small panels that
Okay.
we are, in fact, our DPW crews
And the
could do
sides
it.
are precast concrete?
They're precast concrete blocks, so
Okay.
they'll be stacked on
Sure.
top of each other to a height of 6 feet, and then the frame, the metal frame goes on that in a dome shape.
Okay. Too bad we didn't have a picture we could put on the screen.
You know, if we put out the document camera, the Clear Heights did include some pictures
Oh, we can do that.
of the various ones. Bonnie can switch to the document camera? Okay.
Okay. So, it's going to take Bonnie just a second to hone in.
Pay no attention to the, behind the curtain.
Okay. We're patient.
I'll put it over the.
Okay,
Okay, so now just zoom in,
bring it down.
zoom in as far as it'll go. Okay, so, yeah, these are various ones they've built. Oops, which way do I want to go here? Which way do I want to go? I need to be standing here. There. The pictures are a little dark, I apologize, but we will end up with either the dome shape, which is this one, or this one is more of a barn, traditional barn shape, so I'm not sure which one would be pure dome or barn shape.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's interesting. Commissioner Tuarty.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of comments. It almost looks like a giant hoop house for your salt, which
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of them in our county because our growing season's so short. They are pretty sturdy, but I just wanted to give you a couple of compliments, both to you and to Jim Morrow, for always being willing to look outside the box when, you know, when you realized that that grant wasn't going to come through. Thank you for just being willing to do a lot of work yourselves and always save the taxpayers a lot of money, but also look into alternatives to overall save the budget. And it's great that DPW has worked really hard to put a lot of this money back because they knew that we were going to need a lot of changes and improvements to their garage site.
They're
So,
trying to spread that money as far as it will go, because they've got
Yeah.
a lot of improvements they want to make.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Linda. Acting City Manager, anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. We have two motions because there's two separate contracts. Let's go to Commissioner Miller. Your voice good enough to?
We'll give her a shot, Your Honor. I move we award contract one of B-10-19 Salt and Mix Storage Building, North Contracting Incorporated, in the amount of $241,192, coincident with deductive number one in the amount of $78,932 for a new contract amount of $160,260.
Support?
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosbis,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Commissioner Miller?
And I move we award contract two of B-10-19 Salt and Mix Storage Building to Clear Heights Construction LLC in the amount of $379,475.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty,
Yes.
Mayor Bosvis.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
And the last item under the city manager's report, item 3, is the operational budget review for period ending April 30th, 2019, and Finance Director Kristen Collins will present on this item.
Okay, thank you. Evening, Kristen.
Good evening. This is the final budget review of the year. You get 3 of them during the year. The one as of close of September, the second one as of the close of December, and then this is the last one. If there are any surprises between now and the second meeting in June, then we'll come back to you, but I don't expect there to be anything unusual. I review all of the budget amendments through the end of April at the beginning of my agenda item. And then I go through and begin with general fund revenue, where we can expect another $66,300 in dial-a-ride grant, and we would have an equal and offsetting expenditure in that area because that is a pass-through grant. And then we would like to, we expect to see an extra $55,000 in Ani Osborne. When we set up that budget and started operating that campground within the city, we weren't sure how much extra revenue would be brought in, but it looks to be that we will come in at around $200,000 this year. And that's only a half-year operation, so that's good news. We also have seen a little bit of an uptick in the puller revenue, and I would request an extra revenue to increase at the puller by $13,000, and some of that is offset by extra expenditures. Assistant DPW Director Wires suggested that we may need a little extra to cover overtime from the circus. So those revisions are next. Then we move to the expenditures, and we had, at the city commission level, we had a couple of unbudgeted costs, one with the goal-setting session that was facilitated, and I think that was, a very good idea. I think that the contracted service worked out very well. And then we, of course, have the unexpected city manager search. Both of those this fiscal year should cost around $12,000, and then I would ask for a second year of $9,000 to cover the second installment on the city manager search. So that is the next thing. We'll move to public safety, unless there are any questions on the first part, revenue and, okay. Police department, I'm expecting an extra $40,000, and that's a conservative estimate on personnel costs. They have been short-staffed, they have overtime in excess of budget, and so that's not unusual. We also have the same $40,000 requested in the fire department, and that is to cover, there was a shortfall in the budget on, I see it coming on fringe benefits, and then we have a little bit of extra overtime. They have also had short staff. In the next area, we have DPW services. This is basically, the overages are coming from street department, and those are alleys and sidewalks running over. And so I'm requesting an extra $17,000 in that area in the general fund. The next category in the general fund is culture and recreation, and Assistant DPW Director Wires requested an extra $1,100 for the carbide dock to cover personnel expenses. And we're going to take a little bit of money out of the budget for Sioux Seal Rec because it closed under budget this year. Expenses were under budget, revenue was a little under budget as well. But that can be a transfer. The other, the last item in the general fund was a workers' comp audit adjustment that cost $19,800. And so that's just when payroll comes in higher than budget. So nothing unusual there, but it was unbudgeted for. So I'm putting those requests in for the general fund. We see nothing unusual in Seal and Osborne operating. The major street and local street and stock of equipment, you guessed it, the long winter caused an excessive amount of snow removal costs. And so I'm expecting that Major Street will come in $125,000 over budget,
and that local will come in 98,000 over budget. And I was hoping to be able to borrow that from stock and equipment this year, but with stock and equipment building up its reserve and buying new equipment, which we're all grateful for, we used the money in road contingency to fund that shortfall this year. This is a conservative estimate. If not all that is needed, then we won't use it. We'll just take as much as is needed. And stock and equipment did have some of the revenue from that snow removal, and so I'm requesting a $50,000 in extra revenue budget to be offset by expenditures. Any questions on street budget revisions? Okay, well, I'll move on to parking. As DDA Director Nepper mentioned, he and I and Allison Youngs went through their budgets, and we found that parking fund also suffered from the long winter. It needs an extra $87,500 in expenditures, but we're also expecting $25,000 extra this year in the revenue. So that fund will actually weather the storm quite well. But the parking deck fund, there would need to be an extra $50,000 transferred, and I have that coming from the general fund. The parking deck fund, we think actually is doing much better, with the increase in revenues totaling $44,700 in budget adjustments, and then the increase in expenditures being only $13,008. So that isn't quite as negative. And those are all the budget adjustments. I have them summarized for you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions of Kristen? Commissioner Tuarte?
So basically, what's the overall hit to the budget?
In the general fund, I did summarize it by fund, we have seen that these combined with the transfer of $50,000 to the parking, the general fund is a negative $106,900. But we're still within our percentages on the general fund balance. And if you would like me to follow up on that fund balance estimate, I can do that at the next meeting.
I thought it was going to be more than that, actually.
It sounded like a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
The worst suffering are the street funds, and those were a negative between the two, about $225,000, $223,000 to be exact. So that was a long winter.
Yeah.
but
Did
we-
Act 51, did we get extra revenue from
We
the act, or?
We did get extra revenue. I didn't adjust the budget for that. We did get a little extra snow. Even today, I was still trying to figure out the snow subsidy. The state has a new accounting system.
Oh,
And the payments coming to the locals have been a little vague at times. And it's not, it's not anybody's fault. It's just the communication coming along with the payments is difficult to follow. But we did get quite a large snow subsidy. I'm trying to think of the number. It was higher than normal.
okay.
So you'll see it come through in the final.
Thank you.
I guess it depends on the winter. I mean, sometimes we have a light winter and the city does pretty well, and you have a reserve, and then not so well on a heavy winter. So it's always good to see the updates, and we know that you really keep track of all of that, and that's why you get what you get. It's great.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Any
you.
questions?
Thanks.
City Manager?
No, thank you, Director Collins, for that report. There's several motions before the commission to authorize the final budget revisions for the 2019 fiscal year and the 2020 fiscal year, if noted, and
Yes.
they're itemized out.
And we can we can make that the city manager's recommendation. Commissioner Talentino?
Thank you, Your Honor. I so move make a motion to authorize the final budget revisions of the 2019 fiscal year and the 2020 fiscal year as noted, as stated by the acting city manager.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Again, roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte,
Yes.
Mayor Bospas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. That concludes the city manager's report.
Correct.
Item H is the status reports.
Item 1 under the status report is a report on the citywide cleanup, and Mary Jo Duvall is here to present on that. Mary Jo took the lead on the citywide cleanup again this year and did a wonderful job, so she's here to provide a report to the city commission.
Evening, Mary Jo, again, great job.
It's on. So we had over 100 participants, a lot of them being families and children this year, as well as a lot of businesses and organizations came out to help out. So I thought that was a great testament to our community and the pride that they take in that. I want to thank the city as well for allowing me to do it again this year. Also, we had several businesses. We had over 30 prizes that we were able to give away to the volunteers. So thank you to our local businesses and community as well to support that. Picnic afterwards went great. Thank you to Joe Claxton and Judge Eric for cooking for us. We were lucky enough that the rain held off until pretty much after the burgers and hot dogs were done. So that just kind of encouraged people to end up going home. I did speak with Waste Management, and although they did forget to weigh the garbage, they did let me know that they filled both of the dumpsters that they provided for us. So it was a lot of cleanup after that long winter. Also, thank you just then to everybody. Also to little Miss Geary, who did our T-shirt contest. And are there any questions or anything?
Just to get a comment, it was really well attended.
This was this
And
year,
you're
yes.
right, last year I remember getting soaked. Commissioner Miller and I ended up going down to the cemetery and put flags around the veterans, and that was, I mean, it just continued to rain. And this year we had everything done by, and I think it started at 1 o'clock. The rain made 1:15, and
Exactly,
and,
right.
we went up to the picnic after, and that was well attended. A lot of youngsters.
A lot of families. We had
a lot
Cub
of
Scouts,
families.
Girl Scouts up there, lots of different organizations that helped out. So I thought that was great.
Yes, nice to see Joe Claxton and I think Susie Verrett were
Yes, Susie was up there as
cooking
well
burgers
also.
and
Yeah.
hot dogs and stuff, so.
Yep.
Nice,
So it
nice
was a
turnout, great job.
turnout. Yep, thank you very much.
Commissioner Tuardi.
Yeah, well, I just also wanted to say too that first of all, I think you do a great job, Mary Jo. So thank you so much to from the city. I was surprised this year. I had a lot of people reach out to me personally and ask how they could get involved. So I feel like the program is starting to grow. I think people are starting to be more aware and want to help participate, because we know when the snow goes away, things look differently. We're not the typical, people always say, why can't we be as pretty as Florida? Well, Florida doesn't have 9 months of snow, but so when the snow all melts, you got to pick it up, and I was
You
really
don't have to
impressed.
exaggerate. Felt like 9 months, right?
9 months of snow. Thank you, though.
Okay, great. Item I, matters presented by the public. Yes. Come on up, Justin.
Just really quickly, Linda Hoth from the Visitors Bureau asked me to cover for her. And as an aside from my budget presentation, I forgot to mention that the Visitors Bureau is a huge financial partner of the Downtown Development Authority as well, so thanks to her for that. This Sunday is the Back to the Bricks car show. The Visitors Bureau is bringing in 275 classic cars and trucks that are going to fill up all of Portage Avenue, pretty much from Ashman all the way potentially up to Magazine. So that's 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I know the street department's been working hard, DPW, with coordinating that, and other groups. Those are all coming up from Flint. It's a one-time, they go to different cities around Michigan, I think, each year. So come out to that, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, Sunday night. And then two other things, Music in the Park is starting next Wednesday. And then on June 15th, which is, I believe, 2 Saturdays from now, we're going to be doing our first ever Rock the Locks 5K race fundraiser for the Downtown Development Authority. And I think we have over 150 people signed up. They're going to be running through Sulaks Park, Brady Park, past City Hall. And that's going to be a big, fun event. So come for that as well on Saturday night, June 15th.
That's great information. That's, what did you say about the bricks?
Back to the Bricks car show. That's what they call it. And I think it's named after Flint's Main Street being all cobblestone,
Okay.
I believe.
And you said it was Sunday night
Sunday, June 9th.
from 4 o'clock?
From starting at 4 o'clock. This coming Sunday night. It's,
Okay.
it starts at 4 o'clock. There will be live music, big registration tent. They even have T-shirts and all sorts of stuff for sale for the car show. Our local car shows, car club folks will be joining them, and this Sunday night.
Is Portage going to be open then or closed?
Portage is going to be, I'm working on signs right now with some of the tourist district shops. We're going to have some kind of just, Sulak's parking signs that direct people around Ridge Street and behind Maloney Alley most likely and on Water Street. But in the morning, we have to shut down the parking lanes is I believe the current plan. The parking lanes on Portage, West Portage will be closed. Traffic will be allowed on that Sunday through about probably 2 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier than that, and then they'll barricade it off and cars will start coming in. So we had a couple meetings with some of the tourist shops and felt that was a Sunday. It's not quite the height of tourist season, and by bringing in 275 cars, they said that they a lot of the wives that ride with them and everybody that comes up loves to shop, and so they're planning to hit all the stores that evening. So
Great.
it'll be busy.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you, Justin. Anyone else? Okay, going on to item J, matters presented by the City Commission. Let me just start off by congratulating the Convention and Visitors Bureau again and many other volunteers. The 2019 Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's National Team Championships started on a Thursday and went through Saturday. We have, 352 fishermen, 176 boats. Tremendous event in the city. I guess 2013 was the last time that Cabela's group was here, but these folks stayed in motels. They had dinners. It was just we had six local groups in the final 25 that fished on Saturday. I don't know the results. I think Dane Stanaway came in third, but I don't know who actually won it. I thought it was a local person, but then somebody else said it wasn't, so I'm not going to mention. Agray or Agray? Okay. And I mean, they had a $90,000 prize, boats and outfitted both individuals. That's tremendous. They talked, read the article in the news about the comments from the organizers about the St. Mary's fishery and how they really enjoy coming up and fishing the St. Mary's River. So it's a great venue, and anytime we can get those kind of folks coming to Sault Ste. Marie, they come back hopefully to visit or fish or both. It was what a great event. I understand there was a little problem with the lacrosse field. Somehow they couldn't fence it off, and some boats got in there and kind of parked in there all day. And of course, they're on the water. You can't move the vehicles, so that ended up canceling a soccer thing that was supposed to go on Sunday or Saturday. But sorry about that. But the walleye fishing is a great event, and that's tremendous. And thanks again to the Convention and Visitors Bureau for putting that together. And this coming Sunday with the car show, great. Okay, Commissioner Twardy.
I just wanted to say thank you to the VFW and to the American Legion, and
yes.
then, of course, to General Jack Bergman, who made the trip up here. I felt like the Memorial Day Parade was very beautiful. The flowers this year I felt were extraordinarily beautiful. I don't know if it was the sun shining through the trees there, but David Pierce from the VFW did a great speech. He has a great voice and just really moved, I think, a lot of the people in the crowd to tears. And it's not meant to be a party event. It's meant to be a memorial event and a time where you just really pay tribute to those who have served and those who have fallen. Sorry, getting emotional. So I just saw some negative things out on social media, and it just really hit me hard because that's not why we're there. We're there to remember those, and they did a great job.
Those are great comments because even General Congressman Jack Bergman, who's a retired general, but he thought this was the nicest, some of the nicest parades, and the way the courthouse has the 3 flags on the mast, he said that was the nicest he'd ever seen that situation. And he was really impressed by that we continue to celebrate because of these service groups that are here. The 30th is the actual Memorial Day, and how that was done. And Dave Pierce is, you're right, this is, I think, his 5th year as a commander of the VFW, and does a tremendous job. And a lot of people volunteer and continue to do that kind of stuff, but he's really special when it comes to being able to talk about that stuff, because it's tough, yeah. So, great comments. Anyone else? Okay, let's let Commissioner Tuardi.
I'm the MPTPT, I guess.
You
I
bet.
move that we adjourn.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.